Hello there folks, it's TIJ Gaming and welcome to a brand new series on the channel. Today we start our adventure on Formula 1 2012, possibly the best game and quite an overlooked game in the Codemasters collection of F1 games that started. Now we can't have that song because that's copyrighted, so I think it might be best that we click start. Of course, remember the days when you had to have a VIP pass to play online on these games, and also remember the days when McLaren were actually good. But this game is possibly one of the most overlooked ones. I agree that the career mode is quite vague, it's quite bland, it's quite boring in terms of the fact that there's not much immersion. I don't think vague was the right word. I was going for more beige for some reason, but vague came out. But bland is probably the better word to describe it, so we did get there in the end. But the career mode in this game isn't really all that immersive, I'll admit that, but I have to say the driving model, just the general grid of the season, obviously it was the first and last season with Schumacher retiring at the end of the year, to feature 7 world champions on the grid. Those were Button and Hamilton, both for the drivers at McLaren, of course Schumacher, Kimi Raikkonen, Fernando Alonso, Sebastian Vettel, and who was the other one? Was it just 6? I think it was just 6 then, it wasn't 7, it was just 6. I was thinking for some reason 7. But I think it was just 6. I don't think I'm missing anybody out there. No, I'm not. So that's all okay. But there were 6 world champions on the grid. That's the first and last time that that's ever happened in Formula 1. And this game is one I thought, yeah, let's go back to. I haven't done Formula 1 on the channel for a hell of a long time. Equally, I've never done a career mode in which I've done live commentary on. This is going to be a bit of a new experience. Also, I was having a little bit of a laugh to myself before I looked at this, in that I found some old videos on the old channel. I've been making videos for 6-7 years, and you'll notice on the card that I'm going to put in this video, hopefully, that I made a load of series on F1 2012 when it was the current F1 game back on my old channel, which included a series that I tried to go from HRT to McLaren, which lasted about 3 episodes. Unfortunately, you can probably guess who didn't make it to McLaren. We also did a Williams career mode, which went well, and I think we did other series on the channel as well. But that made me laugh. But after a 5 or 6 year hiatus, Formula 1 2012 is back. So we're going to start a career mode today on the game, and hopefully you guys will enjoy. I mean, remember the Young Drivers Test. It's so many members already. So we've done the Young Drivers Test already, and that opens up the option of either going Marussia, HRT, Caterham. I mean, the 3 new teams were just so slow compared to everyone else. And of course, it was the last year of HRT this year was, before Caterham had their last year in 2014. So really these 2 teams, Marussia obviously only going out in 2016 under the Manor name, but HRT didn't last very long whatsoever. Caterham going out, of course, in 2014, the end of 2014. I remember that season with Kobayashi and Ericsson quite well. Also got Toro Rosso. They had, who did they have that year? I think it must have been Buemi. And was it still Alguersuari in 2012? It must have been. I don't think Vern, or was it Vern? Or was it Vern and Ricciardo? No, I don't know actually. I can't remember. I don't remember 2012 lineup that well. Force India was definitely Sergio Perez and Hulkenberg? Yeah, no, Di Resta was there that season. So was it Di Resta and Hulkenberg? Yeah, Sauber had still got Perez because he finished second to Alonso in that race. Of course, that famous race at Malaysia. But we're going to go with Williams because Williams were actually half decent this season. I quite like the Williams car. It was the sort of car that did go with in the period, and it was probably their last good year up to 2014. I mean, 2013 was a disaster. I remember the season with Maldonado and Valtteri Bottas. I think Bottas scored his first points in America that season, which just showed how bad the Williams car was. But here's the Williams team that we're going to join for today's episode, and I presume we're either going to be partnering Pastor Maldonado. Why are we called Ben Shaw? Why on earth are we called Ben Shaw? Why on earth? Well, I don't know. Why on earth am I called Ben Shaw? I mean, this is a weird one. I mean, I don't remember ever playing this game on this Xbox for a long time. So we're going to go back, change our name from Ben Shaw, and finally we can get on with the Australian Grand Prix. So here we are, back in the career mode hub. Do not ask why we're called Ben Shaw, but we fixed it. We are Toby Jones, and this year we're going to be partnering Pastor Maldonado in the Williams. Of course, we're probably not going to be able to eclipse what Maldonado did in that year, which was, of course, win the Spanish Grand Prix. But his season objective is 9th, our season objective is 10th. So the team obviously think that we are the 5th best car on the grid. Just looking at the constructors that year, obviously we're not going to beat Red Bull, McLaren, Ferrari, and probably Lotus. So I think it's going to be really tricky, to be honest, because they think that we're going to be up consistently with the likes of Mercedes and possibly Sauber. I mean, I think Sauber were pretty good that year, but there's 5 big constructors there, and I'm surprised we're going to be predicted to finish so high up. But let's have a look how right we were with the grid. So obviously the top 10 we knew pretty well. That's quite self-explanatory. Yep, Di Resta and Hulkenberg. Kobayashi was still at Sauber at this point. Blimey. Ricciardo and Verne. That early at Toro Rosso, I think 2011 must have been Buemi and Alguersuari's last years then. Ourselves and Maldonado at Williams, Kovalainen and Petrov at Caterham, De La Rosa and Karthikeyan at HRT, and then Timo Glock and Charles Pic at Marussia. Blimey, some old names. And I bet how many of those are still on the grid. There's obviously Ricciardo, 1, Perez 2, 3 in Hulkenberg, 4 in Grosjean, 5 Kimi, 6 Hamilton, blimey. 7, only 7 of those, of course, with Alonso retiring last year. Webber's gone, Button's gone, Massa's gone, so's Schumacher and Rosberg now. So a lot of changes compared to this 2012 season, which, think about it now, is 7 years ago. It just seems so crazy. So a bit of race information from Melbourne, race weekend introduction, a bit of a welcome to F1, all that sort of stuff, and a welcome to Frank Williams to Williams, funnily enough. Bit of news as well, we've been signed by Williams. This was quite cool, the news feature on this game, I quite enjoyed that. And apparently they reckon that we're not going to be able to match Vettel, of course. This is when Vettel was only a 2-time champion. And as well, it's a 20 race calendar, the biggest calendar yet, I think it was, in F1. It was the 2nd year of the Grand Prix of India. Korea had got its 3rd year. And I think, from memory, it was the 1st year that the USA hosted F1. I think it was the 1st year that USA had. It certainly wasn't there in 2011. So it was the first US Grand Prix. Brazil was the last race for the first time in a while, I think, as well, because Abu Dhabi was certainly the last race in 2010. I think it was in 11 as well. And again, we'll be looking at some of the older tracks that aren't on the calendar anymore. The likes of India, the likes of Korea. And also the German Grand Prix. Is that Hockenheim? No, it's at Hockenheim. So we do see that, and the team will be reviewing our driver status on that weekend. But of course, another race not on the calendar anymore, the Grand Prix of Europe at Valencia. Very apt that Schumacher's on there with his last podium there. But enough of the talking. God, yeah, Malaysia as well, another track that's not going to be there. But less talking, I think we've just got to get on with it now. And we are going to go to Albert Park for the first race of the season. It's a long season, there's 20 races in the season. And we'll be doing, hopefully, fingers crossed, if you guys enjoy this one, we're going to be doing 20 videos, calm down, the 20 races over 10 weeks. So 2 races a week, so 2 episodes in a week. So 1 on a Wednesday, 1 on a Saturday. Yeah, is it a Saturday I've scheduled this for? I think it is a Saturday, which I've scheduled this series for. But you'll find out in the later in the week. There's another series coming out tomorrow as well. Just in the rebrand of the channel and trying to make things a bit different, doing things a little bit differently. And I'm really looking forward to playing F1 and maybe just doing it in but a little bit more of a chilled way, because I haven't played F1 on the channel for a long time. And it'd be nice to come back to F1. And luckily, I was just about to say, I really hope it's not raining for our first session in F1. I have played a little bit of this game in my prep for this series, but in terms of that prep, that's possibly 10 laps, no more than that. But the lucky thing is we've got quite a lot of experience around Australia, but we have to finish above 10th, which means getting into Q3. Now, have I got a setup for this track that I have saved? I wonder. There we go. Yeah, we'll go with that Oz one, whatever that is. So, the R&D path is balanced. We're not really fussed about R&D. But again, no rain forecast. We've just got to get out there and make sure we get into 10th. So we're going to get out there quite quickly. We're going to go on the option tyres. I don't really see the point of doing prime runs. I think we are going to struggle to get through, and if we get through to Q3, it is going to be quite a miracle. We are on Legend AI, so we're just going to try and do a lap in Q1, hopefully. So just bearing in mind, we are on manual gears, so that'll be a little bit tricky for me to do whilst commentating on this. And this game, I think, it's 7 years old this year. It's just over 6 years old because, of course, these games up to 2014 tends to come out in September, October time. So I think that for a game that's 6.5 years old, and it's worth commenting, was on the old gen console, doesn't look too bad. But I am just going to concentrate for this lap. I'll be back to you towards the end of the lap. What you doing, Di Resta? Don't cut me up. That was half decent in the end. That wasn't too bad. But yeah, I'll see you at the end of the lap. Oh, blimey, we've gone wide. This isn't going to be a good lap already, but I'll see you at the end of the lap. So it's quite a short lap here at Melbourne. We're coming around the final corner. I have to say, it hasn't been the best lap in the world, but also it hasn't been sloppy. I feel that these cars are very hard to drive, having to manage DRS all the time. Of course, the rule was still then that DRS could be enabled any time on the qualifying lap. But I have to say it was quite a stable lap, a 130 dead. I'm struggling still with the DRS around that first corner, but just putting into perspective that you're not reaching anything over about 180 in terms of miles an hour. It just shows how far the cars have come in the hybrid area. But I don't know how competitive that lap's going to be. It was quite a fierce lap, quite an aggressive lap. We had the fuel on standard as well, which wasn't the best thing in the world. So I think we are just going to talk through this lap again. I mean, we're 1.1 seconds quicker in that sector than we were last time out. So it is probably worth taking this lap rather than the last lap. But it's all learning curves. I don't think we are going to be bottom of the table. Saying that, though, we have been beaten by our teammates and by Nico Hulkenberg. It is worth commenting, though, that we've at least not delved down into the bottom 3 teams with Kovalainen, but we are going to be quite a way off Maldonado's second sector. Saying that, we are green in the sector by being 1.1 seconds up. I think that must be just in that sector, which means surely we're 2.2 seconds up on our lap, but saying that, that can't be right, because Maldonado would only therefore be 3 tenths above us, which seems a little bit unrealistic at this point. But I don't think we've driven too badly in this lap. A little bit sloppy, I agree, you know, there's not a little bit of margin for error there, not great line into that last corner. But having to manage DRS is a little bit of a tricky one, but it's certainly going to be a better lap than it was last time. A little bit wide running there, but that's not going to hurt us too badly. And it's going to be a significantly better lap, a 128 even, 0.9. I mean, it's quite a way off Pastor Maldonado, I'll grant that, but it's not the worst lap in the world, and let's see as we get to the end of the session how that's going to hold up for us. I mean, we've been beaten by a lot of them there, but as long as we don't get beaten by, because of course, if you remember, in the past, it used to be 7 drivers that went out, so it was the bottom 6 by default, and 1 more driver, which looks to be Jean-Eric Vergne at the moment, which I'm quite happy with. We're just going to see what happens till the end of the session, but looking at it at the moment, I think we are going to be, oh, that is so close, in that bottom 7. But I think we are going to go and set out another lap at the end of this session with a few minutes to go, maybe a little bit less fuel, but to be honest, we're not that far off, you know, being out of Q1. I mean, we're pretty good in the first 2 sectors compared to Jean-Eric Vergne above us, but we possibly do need to improve in the last sector. It's a little bit worrying that Kimi's down there as well as Massa, because really those drivers should be able to improve. So we're going to go out and set some laps now. Maldonado with an absolute stonker of a lap, but the Toro Rosso top of the timesheets. I mean, what's going on there? Unless in fact I suppose it might be the case that perhaps Alonso and the likes of them are on the prime tyres. Because I don't know how, and I can't see how Maldonado and Ricciardo and the Toro Rosso and Williams could be top of that table on the same tyres as the other drivers. But we're going to put a low fuel load in there, just go for the 1 lap. It's going to be risky. Can we use another set of option tyres? That's exactly what we're going to do. Just get out there, try and get through Q1, and that's really all I'm going to ask for. Because I don't think we're going to make the top 10, but we will do 1 lap in Q2. But hopefully this should be the lap that gets us out of Q1 and avoids any first jitters of embarrassment at the start of this career mode. Well, it's all going to come down to this final sector. We are quite a way up on Jean-Eric Vergne, but do remember, of course, we did lose the time to Jean-Eric Vergne and the other opponents above us in the last sector on the last lap. So we're going to need a good last sector here to be that fair. That corner looks a lot better, but just a bit of focus on this final turn. A little bit hesitant there, but hopefully a good run out of that corner. No, it's not looking good. We've slipped up a little bit there. But can we get out of Q1? It's just a race to the line. It's going to be tight. Are we going to do it? Yes, we are. What a lap that was. And despite the low fuel, that puts us up in P7. Apologies for the text there. But what a lap that was. And that puts us up in 7th place. And what a lap that was. Within a second of Daniel Ricciardo's time. Still not sure what went on to mean those two were the quickest. But I'll tell you what, if that was the top 10 in the F1 this year in terms of the teams, I would be very, very confused. Apart from the fact, of course, that Force India don't exist anymore, which would make things even more confusing. And for that argument as well, Lotus don't exist. But I'm just going to shut up. Let's get on to the next session. Well, there's a little bit of reaffirmed hope, you know, that we can possibly get into Q3. I'm really excited because that last lap was particularly good. Now, what I can't remember is, were the laps from the last session 128s? Low 128s or low 127s? Because it seems they're doing low 127s again. But with Maldonado down in this section, I do wonder whether it was low 28s. But regardless of that, look at Massa. Massa in the Ferrari in 15th, Kimi in the Lotus in 12th. And what I do love about this year is that there's a hell of a lot more variation in the grid, which makes things a lot more exciting going into A, the race, and B, into qualifying. So hopefully we can take a bit of advantage. We're going to leave it as late as possible to go out. I know it's a bit of a risk, but let's see if we can have an absolute worldie of a lap. We certainly didn't expect to get up to P7 in the last session. We only needed to get up to P17. But let's see if we can beat Kobayashi's time and get ourselves into Q3. Well, this looks good so far. We're 2/10 up on Grosjean in the first sector. I have to say, I am loving this game so far, just in the fact you can throw the car around. I mean, you don't have to be that smooth it. You can just throw the car around, and I feel that with every lap on driving so far, I'm becoming more accustomed to the game. But, I mean, that's a good second sector from Grosjean, who's now in 10th. Can we beat that? We can. We're 2/10 up, but that's a very dodgy line into there. We're going to have to cut that corner, which never ends well. And we're in the wall. That's not very good. Let's just finish the lap off. Just get our time on the board, but that is going to have destroyed our lap. And unfortunately, for a lap that was meant to put us up into about 10th place, or even higher than that, we are going to be down in 17th, no doubt. And the problem is now, there is the time to get another lap in, but our fuel is not going to be high enough. So, that's a bit unfortunate, but mistakes do happen. I do remember on this game, there was a bit of a fault that if you hit the bump there, you would go spinning round. But despite that bump, I'm sure that the first two sectors were pretty good. But unfortunately, that's going to put us down right in 17th, which leaves us there on the grid on Sunday. So that's going to make our job just a little bit harder in the Grand Prix tomorrow. But I do think we've got the racing instinct, we've got the ability to throw the car around, but management's going to be crucial, and hopefully we can get up to the points in tomorrow's race. And I think that is going to be the end of the session. We're going to finish down in 17th, but I've got no qualms about that. It was just a bit of an unlucky lap, but I have to say, we were very close to getting into Q3, and we've got a little bit more faith, at least, in the fact that Maldonado is in 14th. But Massa's going to be a tricky driver to come by tomorrow in the Ferrari, and hopefully we can get in the points regardless of that. Well, the sun's shining. We are ready for the Australian Grand Prix, our debut race in Formula 1. But we are going to start on the primes in this race, and then come on for an option strategy at the end. I remember a normal fuel strategy was quite decent, and we have got our head-to-head challenge with Pastor Maldonado, who's out-qualified us today, but Pastor is only a few positions ahead of us in P14, so hopefully we can outrace him. But of course, parc fermé conditions are on, but we are ready to go to track. In the primes, we're going to have to conserve the tyres a little bit, but just go for a heavier end of the race section. Of course, the safety car is enabled, so if there's any big pile-up, we may take advantage of the safety car at any point. But now it's time for our first start in F1 2012, and based off the fun I had in the qualifying laps, I cannot wait to see what the race is going to give. So we have Alonso on pole. I can only presume that's Vettel in second, and McLaren lock out of the front row. Maldonado in 14th, and ourselves down in 17th. But hopefully that can improve very, very quickly. Here we go then. The lights have illuminated above the drivers. We have 5 lights in this race, and we are away for the Australian Grand Prix. The lights went out fairly quickly. They're using half of our curves, which I remember was the classic to do in these old games. Bear in mind, we don't want to be cut by any of these drivers. We can go very, very slowly into the first corner, but Ricciardo has gone to the outside, which means that we've been a little bit cut up there by Daniel Ricciardo, which means we haven't gained any positions, but saying that, we haven't lost any at the start. But we are going to dive up the inside of Ricciardo at this corner, and there's a little bit of debris here. That's not good whatsoever. And oh, we've got Jean-Eric Vergne coming up the inside of us. We haven't been very aggressive at the start. We're just trying to avoid any sort of pile-up. But actually, Hulkenberg's made a mistake there. He's actually lost his front wing, which means that we are right up in touch with our teammate, Pastor Maldonado now. But I can see that there's a bit of a cluster of cars in front, and Maldonado's gone a little bit wide there. He's right on the back of Ricciardo like we were at the start. But we've got, look at that slipstream we have on Maldonado. And can we do it? We're going to go up the inside of our teammate coming into the corner here. Oh, he's braked a lot later than us, which means he's actually nearly gone wide. He's nearly hit Ricciardo. And this is a lot more fun than I remember. But maybe I'm dramatising things a little bit. I don't really know. But 15 laps in this Australian Grand Prix. Of course, we are going to probably go away from these drivers a little bit because of the tyres we're on. But a good slipstream again on Maldonado. Going to use some of our curves. See if we can get past our teammate. We've got very good slipstream. We go up the inside of Maldonado. Oh, we've made it stick. I think we have anyway. Maldonado's still on that outside. We've covered him off though. And we are now up to 15th place. Brilliant stuff. And now we go in chase of the Red Bull driver of now, Pastor Maldonado. Well, I'd love to see that happen. But we're going choice of the Red Bull driver, which of course has gone to Renault this season, Daniel Ricciardo. But after the first lap, we've gained 2 positions. Maldonado is right on our back though. Do we defend? We're just going to keep our line. Maldonado though, abstaining from making a move there. Raikkonen in 12th, which is where we need to get up to. But Ricciardo has built quite a healthy gap now, 1.8 seconds ahead. But it's going to be the second half of this race, I feel anyway, that is going to give us a lot of overtaking opportunities with the option tyres on. A lot of the field will be on primes, that obviously helps us. But saying that, we are sticking to our guns. We're doing quite well on the prime tyres, and this can only get better coming into the second half of the race. But obviously a purple sector, which everyone used to go mad about on F1 2012. I mean, they used to get really excited in that, you know, they've got a purple sector, but that's just because it's the fastest of all sectors, taking into account the first lap only. But there's a bit of a cluster in front of us, you know, being held up by, I think that's probably 11th or 12th place. So we might be able to catch up to that in the next few laps. But it's quite a short lap round here, so it's not going to be the longest of Grand Prix in the world. But I'll catch up with you guys when something happens. I'm a little bit worried, though, that Ricciardo is pulling away from us. So I'm going to stop chatting. I'm going to, well, I didn't want to say a rude word there, but we are going to stop chatting. Hopefully Maldonado doesn't take our position. He hasn't gone for it. I'm going to get to concentrate now, and hopefully... Whoa! Oh, no! Oh, dear. Well, that's a disaster. Well, it's not a disaster, but we lost control there, and a bit of our wings fell off. That is not the best. Oh, dear. Well, that's a bit annoying. We've lost a good 5 seconds there, and we've chipped a bit of our wing, which isn't the best thing at all. The wing apparently is quite a bad condition. Let's have a look. I mean, it's just that front wing end plate on the other side that's gone, which is a bit frustrating, but nonetheless, we're going to have to try and deal with it now. We can't come into the pits, and hopefully, I mean, this is poor downforce now, but hopefully we can catch back up to Maldonado, and hopefully if I stop talking now, which surely we'll be able to, we are going to be able to do a little bit better. Well, would you believe this? There's a little bit of debris on the track I've just gone past. We have caught up to Petrov dramatically. I mean, remember, we were about, I think we were about 4 seconds behind last lap. Our laps haven't been spectacular. We've been in the gravel a few times, you can tell by our front left. But is it me, or is that group closing in front? There's been a few yellow flags. I'm just wondering whether a few of them have had a few knocks, and possibly they're losing a bit of time through front wing damage. It's interesting, but I think we can catch up to Petrov quite quickly and regain that 16th place, which is just annoying that we lost that through that stupid spin that we had. But we're regaining our form now, we're regaining our consistency. Vern went for a move earlier on in the lap, but that's just because of the front wing end plate, which is slightly increasing our drag, which is a little bit unfortunate. But at the end of the 4th lap, I mean, we're about, well, we are pretty much a third of the way through this Grand Prix now. Sergio Perez with the fastest lap by me, but we're catching up to Petrov quite nicely. That'll be a overtake which should be done soon, but amazingly there's a driver I can see on the mini map that's not quite so mini that is being lapped already. But there, as you can see, Vern is going for the overtake, and oh dear, I didn't change up gear because I wasn't noticing that at all. So Vern has got the place, and he's braked ridiculously early there, so I wonder whether we can get the position about. Let's stick with this now. Vern will get the DRS unfortunately, which won't help us in a particular amount. But in any case, we are going to do the stupid thing and just dive up the inside of him. Oh, that really hasn't worked though, is it? That really hasn't worked. He didn't budge at all. He wasn't phased, but luckily we got it stopped. But unfortunately, Vern took the place. But luckily, we are back in the same position because Nico Rosberg has took a pit stop. Well, 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 look at that. Vern's already got Petrov. No mucking about. Petrov must have made a mistake there. But Petrov is back on Vern. Well, would you believe this? A Caterham fighting anyone amongst anyone that's not one of the bottom 3 is quite unbelievable. But look how slowly he's braking. He must have some front wing damage because he's braking ridiculously early. But because he didn't expect that, we had to react, which means we haven't really got a good run on him here, to be honest. But we are going to stick with it. We're definitely going to have to get Petrov at some point soon. I mean, look how quickly we're gaining on him. I know the car was slow, but there is a driver that's out. There's only 23 drivers left in the race. I wonder if that was Rosberg. So I doubt he was in the pits that early, but we did see it last lap that Rosberg was dropping through the field. But we should get DRS this time, but quite a poor exit out of the last corner. But we are just going to go for it now, and hopefully we could make a move maybe in the first corner. I mean, look how much speed Petrov is losing on the straight. That's not natural. Can we have a look back? In fact, I'm going to be really lazy and get the instant replay out. Let's see what the problem is with Vitaly Petrov. Right, what's up with him? I mean, oh, that's not the best camera angle at all, is it? Can we go behind? I mean, has he lost his front wing or something? I can't really tell. Oh, can we not fade behind us? That's about the best angle we're going to get. Seems odd that he's that slow. But he is, and we're not going to complain about it because we just gained our place back. But ultimately, it's going to be the time when people start to pit very soon and up the option tyres. But our tyre wear is quite cushy at the moment, so there's no real push or... what's the word? Not push, but just... I can't think what the word is. No urgency, that's the one. No urgency for us to come into the pits. Looks like we're going to be lapping this lapped car that's meandering quite a fair way behind. That is the Marussia of either Charles Pick or Timo Glock. Which one is it? Hopefully they should let us through quite respectively. Timo Glock does there. Must have had an incident earlier on. Maybe he had the incident with Rosberg. I doubt it. But it seems a bit weird for two isolated incidents. And he's going very slowly around the track. So I don't quite know what's happened to him. Might be the pace of the Marussia this year. I really don't know. But surely some drivers can see one of the leaders is coming in the pits. And it'll be interesting to see how far we can get up the grid because people are coming into the pits. I mean, honestly, I didn't comment out on it there, but another half spin at that corner. It's a really nasty corner, that is, and it only lost us a few seconds, but it's really unfortunate that we're back behind Petrov again. I have to say, it's the best we've took that last corner in a long while. We are forgetting, though, to manage our curves. I mean, look how slowly Petrov's going again here. We are going to get up to P11, which is quite dizzy heights for us, and Di Resta's coming out the pits. Can we make the move on him? We certainly can round the outside. What a move that was. We've got the DRS on him, and we are in the points, and... certainly dizzy heights compared to where we've been biting with Petrov because we are behind the reigning world champion Sebastian Vettel, so that's an interesting one. But unfortunately, because we are going to have to take a pit stop at some point, we'll be, what, a good 20 seconds behind these people, so we're not going to be fighting for points today, I don't think. Well, would you look at this? We go from strength to strength. We've just set our fastest lap by a good second there, and we're up to 6th. I mean, granted, it is temporary position because of all the people that are coming into the pits, but at the end of the day, when we come out on our options later on, and it seems that these tyres aren't wearing too badly, when we come out on the options later on, we're going to have better speed. You know, we're going to have the better speed. We seem to be doing well on these primes. We seem to be holding up on the primes, so I wonder how the options will hold up for us. Obviously, Vettel's pulling away from us, but I do have confidence that on the same tyre, Di Resta's not catching us ridiculously. Might be an idea to manage our fuel a little bit better now, but I think what we might do... Oh, that was too low down the gearbox. That made the car go a little bit dodgy. We just completely lost our form there. Can we request a pit stop this lap? How do we do that? I forgot. Oh, I mean, we're just playing silly buggers now. We don't want to do this. Was it X or Y or something? No, that's blooming gears. I don't know why I'm bothering. Is it Y? How do you say you're coming in the pits this lap? I can't remember. It's been such a while since I played this game. I'm sure there was a button that said, I'm coming in the pits this lap. But I think if I come in now, they're not going to expect me and therefore not going to serve me. So we are going to have to leave it till next lap until we come in, unfortunately. But our driving keeps going from strength to strength. It might not seem like it, but I think we're driving quite well. But saying that, we just ended up in the grass, which is a stupid idea. We're going to let Di Resta go. Again, he's not in our ballpark today, but we've braked a lot later than we've clipped him into the first corner. This is not going to help our overall race result, but Di Resta is going to get the DRS now, which undoubtedly means that he is going to get the position in the end. But we're quite aggressive with our braking, it seems, but we're holding up with Di Resta. I mean, he's going to fall away at some point, granted, but I am quite impressed with me. We're right on the back of him. Might as well go up the inside here. Make a bit of a battle with him. Again, it's not going to hurt to back the field up a little bit because that's only going to put us at an advantage when we come in for our pit stop. But I have to say, really good there to get back past Di Resta. But I'm going to shut up now and hopefully our pit stop will go well. Right, here we are then. We've got to get pit entry nice and right. I can't remember what the pit limiter is though on this game, which might be a bit of a problem. Is it Y? We are just going to have to slow it down. I think it's 60. Oh, to be fair, we've got pit assist on, luckily, which I'm not going to complain about. But we've come into the pits, we really fall down the field, to be honest. I think that, unless I was panicking now, I thought, what do we do? We've gone past our pit board, but No, we're alright. I mean, they are going to replace the wing, which isn't going to be too brilliant for us. This is not good. Come on. Right, let's go. It's not going to be a great race for us, I don't think, now. I mean, look how far the other drivers are ahead of us, but we're going to go for it. We're going to try and get as high up as we can. I mean, the objective's 12th, but I think the problem was we didn't qualify as well as we could have done. That was a mistake we made in qualifying already. And hopefully there's a bit of an incident which gives us a safety car, but if not, we start our F1 career in 16th, which, to be fair, we've shown glimpses of positivity. I mean, we've battled with the likes of Di Resta in the Force India, but possibly I think that the direction the team's going in is positive, but their expectations might be a tad too high, because I think we aren't going to compete with those top 5 constructors. I mean, you look at Mercedes and Lotus, there's no way we're going to beat them. And the same applies for Ferrari, Red Bull and McLaren. So for us to be predicted to finish 9th and 10th in the drivers, and I presume that means that would put us in 5th in their constructors, is equally ridiculous. We've got to hope for some fluke results throughout the year just to get to, just to get to 6th, for goodness sake, because Force India and quite a good team as well. But you know, we're not going to complain. We're going to just try and get on with it. Again, I don't mind lofty ambitions as long as the other driver doesn't hit it, which just proves that it's not just us that's the problem. But I have to say, we're 9 seconds behind Vern. Unless there's a miracle that happens, we're not going to beat him at this point. I mean, there we go. That's our best lap of the race we've just done there on lap 11. A 130 dead compared to, I think it was a 131, our best lap on the prime. So the options are definitely quicker. I just think in this race that we had the 2 spins which cost us. We had that front wing change because of those spins which cost us another 4 or 5 seconds. I do think that if we hadn't have been so stupid with that and other factors that have happened in the race, I think that we can't complain. I think we would have been up with the likes of Maldonado fighting for points, but I don't think this is bad. This is a bad introduction, to be honest. I think we've done quite well to be where we are. But I think that Malaysia possibly suits us a little bit more. I think that this one, it's a bit of a tighter circuit. I think that Malaysia is one of them that we can benefit from, and I think that we might be a bit further up the grid. And a track I like as well is Bahrain, but that's not up till 4th race. I don't particularly like China. But again, a place like Monaco could well be somewhere that we do particularly well. Well, bit of overtaking because we might not see it again in this race. Glock's now been lapped twice. God knows what he's doing. But that's a weird one. No, we've done it again. I mean, there's no way you can avoid going into that wall. Well, that's frustrating. We've done it again. I mean, that's 3 out of 12 times. 1 in every 4 laps we've done that. Luckily, it's not going to affect our position, but I have to say that we can't be doing that commonly, or else that is going to mess up our chance in a lot of races. And now we're under scrutiny from Hulkenberg, who's quite low down the grid. I'm noticing that there's quite... Jesus, look how far he's come so quickly. We just blocked him off, effectively doing the block pass there. Even though we didn't pass anyone, but just blocking him really there, because we don't want him to get past. I mean, he's unusually low down in terms of position. He's going to go to the outside. Blocks... Oh dear, that could have been a nasty crash. Glock blocked us though there, and he's blocked Hulkenberg, his compatriot, massively. And I'm just trying to watch this battle whilst trying to control our own car, for goodness sake. But no, Timo Glock been a bit hasty there to his compatriot. Nothing really we could do though, because Glock was trying to cover for both drivers. Of course, we were on the inside as Glock was, so we had to cut back out to get past Glock. But luckily we didn't cut Hulkenberg up, but it seems that Hulkenberg still hasn't got past Timo Glock, so God knows what's going on there. But we're certainly not going to complain. Well, it's not looking good for Williams today. Maldonado's just dropped down to 15th in that little battle. I think it must be for 12th or 13th at least. But as I said earlier, I think this expectation of us might be a bit high. I think they're gambling on Maldonado to get another win again. But looking at the performance of the team today, I very much doubt that's going to be the case. Saying that though, I do feel that in tracks that we're good at, we might well possibly get some good points. But Rosberg's down here as well, so some very, very varied positions today it looks like. Might be an interesting top 10 come the end of the race. Oh! Oh dear. Oh, just another mistake. Too many of them today. Again, too hasty there. We chipped a bit of our front wing again. You may as well stick with me from this point, because we've only got a lap or so left. Going on the outside of Hulkenberg now. It's going to be an interesting one. Can we make it stick? Just trying to give Hulkenberg enough room. Hulkenberg's still there though. I mean, there's no point us diving down in this corner, because we are going to get DRS now, and we are on the quicker tyre than Hulkenberg. So, a bit more than we bargained for in terms of a last lap battle, but as you can see, he's pulling away from us even with DRS, but all of a sudden now he's tried to cover the inside. We're going to get the slipstream from him now and just dive up the inside. And we've made it stick. I know we kind of cut the corner there, but I'm sure you can let me off. Giving him enough room, just trying to. He's made it stick again, but we have got the slipstream on Hulkenberg. Outside or inside? Inside it is. We give him a little tap. We respect his room, though, on the outside. But he doesn't cut back in. And Fernando Alonso is the winner of the 2012. I think that was the same in real life as well. Of course, this famous season with 7 winners in the first 7 races. No, it can't have been Alonso, because I think Alonso won in Malaysia. From memory, I think Lewis won in Canada. Alonso won in Malaysia. It must have probably been Vettel in the first race. Well, it must have been the... Well, it wasn't any of the Lotuses, because Kimi won in Abu Dhabi. So it would have been the 2 Ferrari... No, surely Massa can't have won one. He might have done, actually. I don't know, I'll have to research that. But definitely the 2 Red Bulls, 2 McLarens. Obviously, Maldonado won a race in 2012. No, it must have been Massa. Must have won one of the races. You'll have to let me know. I'm sure I'll have a look, but you can let me know in the comments anyway for a bit of hindsight. But a good start to the season for Ferrari. Same can't be said for us, but to be fair, we qualified here. We haven't lost any places. It wasn't the best race. We could have been up in the points, but it's a first effort. It wasn't all too bad in the end, and I think that, well, unless Hulkenberg makes a last dash, it's going to be quite close to the line, but we're going to cut him off. And it's not a result to celebrate particularly, but I have to say that despite the result, I really enjoyed that. I haven't played this game for a number of years, but the handling model is something if I can get my words out, something I can certainly get used to, and hopefully you guys will enjoy as well, which would really be appreciated if you guys gave a like just to let me know you enjoyed it. And we can also get this series on for multiple episodes. As I said, if this series goes well, blimey, look at Perez in second. Well, that was the same as Blazer. In fact, I'm going to look this up now. I'm going to have a quick look at this up, but I'll just keep chatting because while I look this up, but I hope you guys have enjoyed this because I really have. Again, something a little bit different. I'm not going to do any fancy editing. I just want to play this game and enjoy it, and I hope you guys do too. A bit of editing, obviously, on the bits I'm not speaking. I don't really think you guys would appreciate me waffling on or not speaking at the same token. But just having a look at the results, I'm sure that Alonso won the Malaysian Grand Prix, because I'm sure that year was the year that Perez finished second. Saying that could have been 2011. Yeah, there we go. Perez was second in Malaysia, I've just seen that. So, Button won the first race. Alonso, blimey, of course it was Rosberg. It was Mercedes' first win, wasn't it? Since the Brawn era, blimey. So, Button won in Australia, Alonso in Malaysia, Rosberg in China, his compatriot Vettel in Bahrain, Maldonado in Spain, of course, Webber in Monaco, and then, yeah, Lewis in Canada. And Alonso become the next repeat winner in Europe, the Valencian Grand Prix. And amazingly, even though there's 7 winners in 7 races, the next winner who wasn't a repeat winner was Kimi in Abu Dhabi. But an interesting top 10 there, with Alonso winning the race and an excellent race from Perez, which really puts our 5th place Constructors' place already at jeopardy, I feel. But luckily, Kamui Kobayashi didn't score any points, but 18 points is a big feat and requires ourselves and Pasta to really be 5th and 6th for next episode, which I very much doubt. But a poor performance from Vettel, considering, quite a poor performance from Red Bull in general, really. But it seems from those fastest laps that it's Ferrari and Red Bull who are the quickest 2 teams going, but McLaren just behind them. So, the Drivers' Championship is the same in the results, and there is the Constructors. Ourselves, Toro Rosso and the 3 bottom teams not scoring any points, but ourselves in 9th because Verne and Ricciardo beat both ourselves and Maldonado. But not a bad place to start, personally. It was a good race in Australia, a lot of fun, a lot of mistakes at the same time, but I really enjoyed that and I hope you guys did too. And if you did so, make sure to leave a like on the video and there'll be another one out in Malaysia at the weekend. Thank you very much for your company, folks. I've been TIJ Gaming. Subscribe for future F1 content, but until the next F1 video, I will see you guys. See you guys? Okay, fair enough. Let's do that again. Until the next F1 video, I will see you guys later. Goodbye.